the guys that make less than 100K are getting married, right? And I don't do this often, but I do disagree with Marcus. I think it is easier for them to get married because their options are much more limited. They don't have to vet quite as much. They don't have to sift through quite as much. They don't have to check somebody's intentions of why they're there. Is it a right fit? All of that stuff. The requirements for that garbage man are significantly different than the guy who fits the 666, right? The standards of living are not the same. All of that stuff. So as long as that woman is willing to sign up to his income, his lifestyle, all of that stuff, he's good to go because his requirements are not as hefty as the man who has significantly more options, right? So you're talking about, does your average woman want to marry that? The answer is no. The average woman wants to live a more comfortable lifestyle. However, there are still, because women are not a monolith, there's still a multitude of women that are marrying the bus drivers, the garbage drivers, the whatever, right? Y'all get the point. At the same time, right? I think that, to what Ali is saying, yes, men hold the key to marriage, but I think women having substance is more of a rarity than it was before. I think more women are focused on the aesthetics of things and how Instagrammable things are, where the character component that men want to marry, those intangibles that we were all talking about, and the fact that men are not experiencing those things in women, I think those women have become a rarity, which is why men are opting out of marriage, right? Like, in the real world, all of these things exist, right? It's just a question of what your immediate experience is.
Let me ask you a question.
Shout out to Instagrammable, by the way.
Let me
Stealing
ask you
that.
a question. Do you think, because
I do
we
like that.
mistaken
Instagrammable.
saw a survey, and the survey said that 83% of men choose women off of their physical. Okay, so do you think that the problem is the women that they find physically attractive are the women who they're saying, oh, they don't have access to? It's not women, just women that they may be like, oh, she's the 10, the 9, the 8.
So no, right? Because I think, one, with like how prevalent surgeries have become, the woman that used to be stuck being a 5 or 6 is now getting surgery to look like an 8, 9, 10, right? And makeup adds to that and all of this stuff. So I think that the quantity of women that sit between 8 and 10 has significantly increased. So there's no lack of beautiful women that men are looking for. And yes, these men are choosing them, but they're choosing them to sleep with them. They're not choosing them to marry them, because that X factor that men are looking for in marriage, it, like, no matter how many of these beautiful women exist, that X factor is still the thing that, like, is missing. And to your point, Shan, of what you said earlier, the fact that a lot of these billionaires' wives are homelier, I'll say that, is the fact that they're willing to marry that woman that has that X factor while they have those 8, 9s, 10s on the side that they play with, right? So, like, but those are the men who have the resources to be able to handle that. And also, that woman understands that that man with that kind of resources is more of a rarity, and she may not be able to get that again, right? So she's not willing to give it up the same way as somebody who makes 50K a year with the same behaviors, right? But even the guy that's making 50K is still having a hard time finding women of substance. And I think the moment that women start to work on their character, their morals, their values, their boundaries, I think we'll start to see a lot more marriages, because men will be incentivized by that X factor.
That's
I can agree with that.
100% truth. What she just said. 100%. Can't even
So,
deny that.
so let me ask you a question. So, because Mistaken and I talk about this a lot, and I'm just playing devil's advocate, because I know whenever we take it all women, men, do you think that both men and women need to be together?
Both need to what?
Remember how we talked about, we focus a lot on the women getting right. Because I personally believe that if men got right, the women will fall in place. Like they would
You
have
know,
choice.
I'm I'm putting together a show. Let me just say this part,
It
real.
takes
I'm
both.
putting together a show.
That's what I'm saying. It takes both. That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
yeah. I'm putting together a show because naturally we hear that so much. I see it in the chat. Trigger Mike, why don't you talk to men? Why don't you talk to men? It's so weird, like because it's not really an equal, not an equal problem. You don't hit it from the same way. I preface this by saying I don't believe there are any more degenerates in proportion in today's society than there ever has been. It's just that women are fraternizing with them, and they never used to do that. You see what I'm saying? Men are soldiers. You can change a man into damn near anything. They are programmable.
You said you couldn't,
You
though.
can
I said
change
they help
someone.
me.
You can change someone from an incel to a masculine, mature man going through an 8-week boot camp to serve your country in 8 weeks.
You told me, but you just said when I asked about the help me that women don't bring that to the table. They can't assist with a man's progress.
What?
They
Wait,
can't.
I wasn't
Wait.
talking about a woman.
Oh, okay. Oh.
I don't. Okay, so I don't think that women can assist in the way that women think that they can assist, right? Because again, and Trigger Mike and I had discussed this previously. I think women's job is to inspire that man to be better, right? Don't do it for him. Don't mother him. Don't pick up that. But like to be the kind of woman that inspires that man to naturally want to be better, right? And I think that's the helpmate part, right?
Yeah. And men hate that conversation.
That was another good
in
one.
these spaces. Men hate that only because I don't need no inspiration. Listen, that's what you get when you listen to a bunch of 1%ers talk. That's why they call 1%ers. The W.E.B. Du Bois call it the talented 10th. 1/10 of men will have the drive all on their own. Okay, that is not most men.
Are you making my argument real?
No.
Wait,
You heard me say this before.
Oh, that
It
C2
is,
on the last part.
it is literally the drive for most men, like Marcus said, to wake up every day and see that woman and those kids. That is his purpose for doing anything better than he did it the day before. That's the purpose of most men. Men will be like, well, you got to have a drive on your own. Well, guess what? They don't. Because think about it, ladies. I always use this example. When you felt comfortable enough to go to that first man's apartment, what the hell did it look like? Was he living like Marcus and Boomerang? Because Marcus and Boomerang had his shit together. He prioritized being a top dog. No, that man's apartment had a futon. It might not even have been a bed in that. We can live very, very minimalist lives on our own. Big ass TV and a PlayStation. But put a woman in that house.
Nature. Yes, sir.
Put a woman in that house. And she says, let's make a home together. Why don't you take more hours and so we can buy this and we buy that? He said, you know what? You sure make this shit look good. I'll do that. That's what most men do. And that's who they do it for. So we can stop capping. Most men won't do nothing. Unless they want to furnish their woman house a little bit better. They got purpose now. She put a battery in their back to get up and go to work every day. Oh, I heard through the grapevine that there's a promotion, babe. I think you'll be great at that. That's what women do.
Whew. Speak on it.